Like, you remember when we started in crypto over a decade ago? You could mine on your laptop. You could
Yeah.
mine on your chip.
Yeah.
Then it became a big question, which was, do we allow ASICs, these specialized chips?
That's right.
And then it became about proof of stake as well, whereby it moved from labor owning the means of production to capital owning the means of production.
It's very true. Very true. Yeah.
Hey guys, welcome to Everyday Finance. Visionary investor Raoul Pal has been outspoken about the innovations, prospects, and revolutionary trends of Bitcoin. On March 7th, US President Donald Trump made an announcement that caused the market to react significantly. The market was rocked by the announcement, which centered on establishing a strategic Bitcoin reserve. Data from Farside Investors shows that cryptocurrency exchange-traded funds, ETFs, experienced net outflows of almost $370 million. This followed Trump's executive order that created a national stockpile of digital assets and a reserve of Bitcoin using assets seized by law enforcement and through court cases. The directive placed a strong emphasis on a cost-neutral strategy for increasing Bitcoin holdings without adding to taxpayer expenses. However, the lack of new purchases and inflows left the market feeling underwhelmed. Experts like Alvin Kay, COO of Betet Wallet, and Juan Lewis of Wanin emphasized that the order's narrow scope did little to increase investor confidence, despite the acknowledgement of cryptocurrency's significance in global finance. The spot price of Bitcoin and its futures consequently dropped by more than 2%, prompting some to characterize the situation as a classic case of buy the rumor, sell the news. Even though there was an immediate decline, as institutional players continue to evaluate their positions, some investors see this as a long-term opportunity.
Creating a store of value that's a blue chip asset, but using that compute to build these models, and then putting compute in every nation to secure that. Then you have a currency that's linked to intelligence, that's helping everyone go through their cancer journey.
This is
by
like a
giving them
proof of
cancer
compute, essentially.
Proof of beneficial compute, yeah.
Okay, right.
Like, you've got core teams working and using the outputs, and a lot of the Bitcoin miners have actually become AI miners now, but they've got nothing to run.
That's right.
But we need to build this, because I don't want a marketplace initiative for my kids' education. I want to have a very high trust asset that's built fully as the model that teaches my kid. I don't want it to tell my kid that Gillette is the best a man can get, you know? It might be. So I think that we can build open infrastructure that way, and we can adopt some of these mechanics. So we're finalizing this, but we're good at building models ultimately in data sets, and someone's got to do it. And if we do it in the open, then you can achieve real change, because the needs of people are very defined. Like your healthcare AI right now, as Raoul on the edge, you're using perhaps that much. In 10 years, you'll have a whole team of AIs working for you, right? Same for education, same for every country, every state. And I'm like, that's physical infrastructure that's like Bitcoin mining. It's actual physical chips. And they'll be running this, so why don't we use that to secure a currency? And that currency is helping people. And then it interacts with your personal AI and your super genius AI. And we can bring together teams in every nation and every sector to think about what's the full stack for cancer? What's the full stack for Alzheimer's? And have that as a public good. At the very least, I think you'll help people. At the very best, you could build a new model. And actually, no, at the very, very best, we're trying to put together teams to think about what is post-labor economics in an AI age. Because money, probably you won't need, but in the interim period, people want a liquid investment in AI, and a Bitcoin, but with AI, is a good one. Maybe on a national basis, we go back to classical crypto. So one of the things we're exploring right now is national currencies. Like, you remember when we started in crypto over a decade ago? You could mine on your laptop. You could mine on your chip.
Yeah.
Then it became a big question, which was, do we allow ASICs, these specialized chips?
That's right.
And then it became about proof of stake as well, whereby it moved from labor owning the means of production to capital owning the means of production.
It's very true. Very true, yeah.
And that happened at the same time as this massive libertarian, you can build anything, which then led to all the crapness in crypto as well. A lot of the crapness is about this casino thing, because there are no guardrails. It should be unruggable. So I'm like, maybe we can go back to that from a national currency. Like, what if everyone got universal basic AI, which for me is opportunity. I don't like UBI, and we can discuss that if you want. And then by using and providing UBI, universal basic AI, they mine currencies. That could be interesting from a cash perspective. It could be an index on productivity of a nation because the compute of a nation has to do that. But we're not sure yet because this is a hard problem. At the very basis, though, we know if we have a bunch of clusters and we have a specialist cancer cluster, we can help every single person going through their cancer journey with an AI that outperforms human doctors on diagnosis and empathy.
But
And
how
so
do
we're
you
focused
do
on
that when this is going to have to be a state-led decision to use this?
It doesn't have to be.
Okay.
One of the nice things about open source AI is that it's permissionless in adoption. So only Stable Diffusion, you had 100 million downloads because people just take the weights and do what they want with it.
Yeah.
If you built a cancer AI, half of the people that are listening to this will be affected by cancer in their lives, right? And it outperforms human docs on empathy and diagnosis. Anyone can take that and make that available to anyone going through their cancer journey. How do you talk to your kids? What's the latest knowledge on cancer? And their lives will be better and it'll probably work on the edge. But someone's going to build it. Like right now, it's crazy that you don't have access to this technology, right? No one's organized this because it hasn't been the imperative, but we know it has a social benefit. And so that's why we thought link it to a crypto asset and you build a high trust crypto asset. You don't need government permission. But even then, every government wants this technology because you can't outsource your brain of your country to OpenAI or Anthropic or Google or anyone like that because they're misaligned. So the model we have here is national champions that are 100% locally owned that implement this technology and bringing in all the locals there. So again, I'll show more details about it, but we think that's the appropriate governance structure.
Yeah.
The growing number of women investing in digital assets is a new trend in the cryptocurrency space. 50% of female cryptocurrency investors intend to keep their holdings for 5 years or longer, with Bitcoin emerging as the most popular option, according to recent data from a Bitpanda survey. This strategy offers stability and lessens the temptation for short-term trading, while demonstrating a dedication to accumulating long-term wealth and achieving financial security. There are still difficulties in spite of these encouraging trends. More than 81% of female investors admit that they struggle with investment education, making a lack of knowledge in the crypto space a major obstacle for many women. Furthermore, their capacity to participate completely in the market may be impacted by financial limitations. Compared to men, many women trade less frequently, which helps them be more cautious and prevent rash decisions during market swings.
And that's something you've been talking about for a long time. It needs to be localized.
And it physically needs to be localized. Your healthcare supercomputer that runs your national healthcare service and your healthcare need to be localized at a national level and on your phone or your local devices. And we're seeing now you're getting to that point where, again, it's good enough, fast enough, and cheap enough to do that. Again, I bring it to the point of education. You want to have an education AI that's national and reflects your local culture, but at the same time, you want to be able to edit it, right, for your own child, because it'll be the most persuasive thing ever. And if it's not transparent, how are you going to do that? And the wonderful thing is, once you've built this, it then becomes a question of, well, let's get more and more ASICs in compute on board to run this. And once you give everyone universal basic AI, like I said, UBI, I don't really like because it doesn't have the right incentive mechanism, and I couldn't make the math work, this universal basic income. Whereas universal basic AI for me is universal basic opportunity. You want to go and build businesses, you want to explore the wonders of the universe, you go and just do it, right? Right now, maybe 1 billion people in the world have access to these AIs out of 7 billion.
But I've thought through this as well, but doesn't competitive advantage of humans using it go to zero over time, and pretty short period of time as well?
Well, I think it depends on whether you're saying competitive advantage in classical economics or competitive advantage in terms of advancement. Because again, we're talking about what does a post-AI future look like, right? Like most money is securitization and leverage, shall we say, capital. Telling a story about an asset and how well you tell it. If you kind of break that down, AIs can tell it better, they can allocate better. A lot of the friction that comes from these, like allocation decisions, the AI will be able to remove the friction, which then again has comparative advantage. So capital and resource allocation can flow faster. Like right now, can we feed every single person in the world? Yes. Can we give every single person in the world a mental health buddy? Yes. Do we? No, because a lot of people are invisible. There's a misallocation incentive and others. So the way I view it is that we can move to an abundant Star Trek type future. It's just the interim is very ugly. And if it goes the wrong way, we end up in a like Star Wars type future of, like it's not as good, like these destructive cycles. It feels very much like Foundation, actually, like this Isaac Asimov book, whereby most of our problems are allocative. We have enough resources. We have the ability to show people progress. Every single person, like in the Young Ladies Illustrated Primer, will have an AI beside them. Who's built that AI for what purpose? And is it a public common good? Or is it trying to sell you ads and gain your attention for this more short-term thing? Again, like, because we think in this way, we look at the ultimum, which is, well, where is any comparative advantage? Why do you need money at all when you can do instant bartering? What has this done to political
When
power
you can
hegemony?
instant reallocation of resources on a globalized level because AI can do it, yeah, what is money?
But the reality is this. Every programmer still isn't using AI.
No.
Which is mind-boggling, right?
I know.
Like, I remember we were playing around on thing. I did deep research of you,
That's right? Yeah, that's right.
I was like, wow, look at this, deep research. Let's do a paper on Raoul Pal and his approach to everything. It was like 80% good enough. It was like, what? But
And
not
done in
every
minutes. I mean,
within minutes. Okay, there were some mistakes. Doesn't matter, because that would have taken how long? But the reality is, I bet 90% of financial analysts still aren't using deep research.
no, people still haven't seen it.
And this is the thing, it will come in waves of adoption, right? Because it has to come to where you are. And this is why, like I said, if my main thing is when I can have a chat with my AI like I'm chatting to you now, it just seamlessly integrates. And so it'll come in waves of adoption. I think we'll have some time, but we need to have coordination mechanisms. And I think crypto is great for that. I think we need to give people things to believe in, like a very practical thing. If you've gone through the cancer journey, imagine if there was an AI that could coordinate and help you through that. Not from a diagnosis, not from a treatment perspective, but just being there. And again, AI is outperforming human thoughts and empathy. What if every child had this technology? Like, there was a study done in Nigeria, 2 months of ChatGPT access improved educational outcomes by 2 years. And what's the cost to give that to every Nigerian? Even if you do it with solar power, it's like nothing.
Yeah.
So I think that we can think bigger. It'll become more competitive, but this is the nature of the economy. As you have these waves of innovation, it's just the diffusion and pace of this innovation is faster. And a lot of these classical structural things are broken down. I think things will be challenged like IP, copyright.
It's so hard to
patents and others.
maintain in this world. I mean,
Well,
maybe blockchain rails is one way of doing it. So at digital speed in a digital age, we can prove authenticity of both people, content, stuff.
But then how does copyright apply to a robot that's walking around? Like, there was this silent album that was just released by Kate Bush and Damon Albarn and others, saying, well, you can't have this for music, right? Stop scraping. But other countries allow scraping of music. And so is the Optimus robot going to close its ears when it hears Taylor Swift? It doesn't really make much sense, does it?
No.
And in fact, the reason that we have
because it's replicating us, right? So are you infringing IP rights because you are Paul McCartney and you heard songs in your youth from Fats Domino and regurgitated it into Beatles songs?
It's
the same thing.
Transformative, right? And again, this is copyright moment. But then you extend that. Like, why do you have patents? What happens when you have teams of AIs and humans patenting everything? Doesn't make sense. We had patents because what we were trying to protect was the value of smart people coming together to build. And now you have the first discoveries done by AI. Is that patentable? Like, anyone who's decent at mathematics, like, I'm decent, I'm an Oxford mathematician. It's been so much fun using the AI to do kind of the mechanisms on game theory, topology, and others. Because I can just bounce back things and forth, and I can build brand new social constructs and other things like that. But it just requires one of me now. It doesn't require a team of me anymore. As you get to in silico biological things, again, is that patentable? Does it make sense? Suno generates songs in seconds, and now with WAN,
then that
you can
collapses.
make videos.
So I've had a thesis for a long time, which everything digital goes to zero in value.
Cost of
Because
consumption has gone to zero in the private first wave. The cost of creation goes to zero in this wave.
That's right. That's right. And the only thing that has digital scarcity is obviously blockchain rails. And that doesn't apply to everything. So it's, as you and I talked about, this is a deflationary nuclear bomb of which people don't understand will completely restructure how an economy even works.
Initiatives like the Women in Ethereum protocol are assisting women in confidently entering the cryptocurrency market in order to close the knowledge gap. These programs emphasize making small investments, conducting in-depth research, and advising novice investors so they can make wise choices. The future of cryptocurrencies is being reshaped by this increasing participation, which is also stimulating innovation and creating a more varied market environment. Women's participation in the field is turning out to be more than just a fad. It's a vital factor driving the sector's advancement. Women are inspiring future generations of investors and adding to the diversity of market participants by adopting a patient, long-term investment strategy. A more equitable and inclusive financial ecosystem is being cultivated as a result of their contributions to the crypto landscape,